Well, time has finally come. We're finally going to talk about my job. We've done this before. We're going to do it again. This is mainly for the new peeps. Hey guys, hopefully you're watching. Y'all asked for this. You wanted to know in the comments what I do for work. Well, pay attention. You're about to figure out. Those of you who already know, if you don't want to watch this, I'll see you next week. If you stay around, I'm sorry. All right, let's get into the video. Okay, so why are we looking at the motor? Why is the hood up? We're gonna try to do two things at once. We're gonna talk about my job, and I'm gonna change this oil. I've been trying to change this oil for quite some time. All right, let's change the oil. Well, this is quite the tight fit. I'm gonna undo this bolt here in the oil tank and let it drain. And then I'm gonna show you, emphasis on show, exactly what it is I do. And then after this oil drains, I'll tell you how I find these jobs, and then at the end kind of go over my expenses, give you a general idea of what my overall profit is at the end of a work trip. All right, let's get this oil out. Okay, so I just arrived in Fredericksburg, picking up some items. Can't really see them, but the woman has left them. Yeah, it's a tabletop and a little metal decorative piece. We're gonna load that up in the trailer and then get back on the road and head to Austin. All right, let's do this. Okay, so we got it loaded up. It was real quick and easy. Now we're back on the road to Austin. It's about 8:30 p.m. at night, and it's Monday, November something or other. Not quite sure the date, but it's Monday. And so yeah, let's head to Austin. That's a lot of driving. All right, so the last we spoke, we had left Fredericksburg on our way to Austin. A whole nother day's gone by. We've gone to Houston, made a drop. Now we're outside of Beaumont on our way to Florida. We just got here last night, and now we're leaving early this morning. We've already got traffic. They're being redirected off the interstate. It's a fun start, but we got a coffee. Let's hit the road. That's a whole hell of a lot of driving. We're in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm at a place called 14th Street Modern. It's a vintage modern furniture store. Here are one of the items I'm picking up, this lamp. Now let's go inside and grab the other one. As you can see, it's a very fancy place. This is the other lamp they said I can come in and show. So here we are. We're gonna pick this one up, put it in the van, load it up, and then head down the road to the next stop. All right, let's go. So we're here in Bradenton, Florida, about to drop off another item. I'm not gonna really show because I'm a private residence and I don't have permission. Unload the trailer, back onto the road. Okay, that drop is now done. Got another drop here, same town, Bradenton, 6 miles down the road. We're gonna go do that, then we're gonna get a haircut. I'm not gonna show you that, and get back on the road. All right, let's go. So this is just one of the many drops that I do. So just grab my item and drop it off. And so I have a lot of different things here. For example, I've got this very lightweight but interesting cowl. I believe this goes on the bottom of a plane or maybe a helicopter. This is not what we're dropping off today. This is one of the items that we're dropping off today. So I'll just close up, drop off my items, and back down the road. So now that we have it dropped off, let's get back on the road and to the next stop. I'm averaging somewhere between 12 and 16 hours a day driving, usually on the road 6 to 9 days at a time. Yeah, it's a lot of driving. So a lot of my routes consist of 3 main routes, 2 going east, 1 going west. The 2 going east, I usually do Interstate 10 or Interstate 20, all through the states of Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and Florida. Every now and then, I might break off, go a little bit higher of I-20 into Arkansas, Tennessee, and then down through Georgia, down to Florida, and then back. And then there's Interstate 10 going to Florida, and it's usually the more straight shot, the least amount of gas spent, the least amount of time spent on the road. My third route is out west, which is New Mexico, Arizona, Utah, and Colorado. But the last couple of trips going out west haven't fared out so well, so I probably will not be doing Arizona and Utah anymore, especially with Utah being that there's nothing really in the center of Utah being dropped off. It's either at the very bottom, very top, too much space in between, not enough drop-offs. If I'm having to fill up multiple times between each drop-off, that's taking away profits. But we'll get to expenses later. So let's get back into the driving. It's a lot of driving. We have another stop. Like many stops, I just stop, grab the item, take it to them, and then on to the next. Alright guys, so we're shooting differently. I ran out of memory on my memory card and I don't have time to download it down, but we're shooting on my phone right now. And I just dropped off this cow. This is it. I showed that earlier in the video, but this is the place. Pretty cool. Meeting the guy who's working on these planes. He's actually working on this motor right here, it looks like. Pretty cool gig. This was one of the stops here outside of Houston, near Alvin. Manville, I think is the name of the town. All right, we're gonna get back on the road. We got one more stop to make in Galveston, and then we're done. All right, so we got this oil drained out. Let me get back up underneath this van, pull the oil filter, put the bolt back in the pan. I'll see you guys in a minute. Oh. Whew. All right, now that we got the oil drained, let's fill it back up. Oh, and if you guys are ever having issues getting your oil filter off and you don't want to spend 10 or 20 bucks on that oil filter tool, you know what I'm talking about. It's like handle, circular. Anyways, you want to save some money? Here's a little neat trick. This trick means if you planned on saving the filter, there's no saving. But you want to stab a hole through the side of it with a screwdriver, and you can use the screwdriver as a way to get leverage to turn it. That's what I had to do. That thing was on there tight.
Yeah, that's what she said.
All right, let's put some more oil in it. Then we're going to talk about how I find work. All right, so as to how I find work all over the US, primarily those routes that I was telling you about, is an app. Now there are some caveats to this. Well, how can I say this? In the beginning, when I first used this app, I made just over 700 bucks for a week's worth of work. It's not good. By my second week, I made about 1,200. By my third week, I was around 1,500. By my fourth, fifth week, I was sitting around 2,500, and it's been consistent ever since. In fact, if you guys remember when I flipped the trailer, that cargo trailer in the middle of the cow pasture, well, I bought a new trailer, slightly larger, and I drive slower now. Not because of that, but because of that. Driving slower, I'm saving hundreds of dollars more in gas, even with the larger trailer. But with the larger trailer, I'm making a few hundred extra dollars. So my average income weekly on a 7 to 9 day work trip is between $3,000 and $5,000. So we'll say I'm making around $35,000 to $4,000. That's profit. All right, so it takes a couple of weeks if you're using this app to get a rapport built up. But then also the plus to this is you can start creating business outside of the app and you don't have to use it. The app is more or less to fill in the blanks. All right, so this app, it's called UShip. So you go in there, you fill out the application to become a driver, you run through the background check, Basically, it's a simple background check. I believe you have to pay for it somewhere between 25 and 45 bucks. You pass the background check, you know, they want to make sure that you got a clean driving record and you're not going to steal anyone's shit. Once you pass that, then you can start working. And then it's just pretty much plug and play. I'll show you here. So here, for example, I'm in Texas. I want to go to Florida. I will put in Texas as my pickup, and then I will put all the states in between Texas and Florida as my drop off. I can even go one further and put all the states in between Texas and Florida as pickups too, so I can potentially pick up stuff in every state along the way. But I'm fairly good about filling up my trailer all in Texas and then just going straight to Florida with the occasional stop in between Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, sometimes Georgia. Really, I'm not a fan of Atlanta, Georgia. Too much traffic. Anyhow, this is what I do. And then I go on here, and then as you can see here, they've got two different sections, auction and offer. I, 9 times out of 10, will go straight to the offer. What is that? That is where the lister puts on there what they want to pay for the shipment. I'm not all about the negotiation. It takes way too much time. It's just me out there on the road. I don't have a whole gaggle of geeses behind the driver's seat driving for me. I can't take my time looking for one job to pass on to someone else. It's just me. So I don't want to waste their time, and I don't, more importantly, don't want to waste my time. When I say waste my time, some of these listings will be on here for days, even weeks, sometimes months in the auction area. I don't have that kind of time. If I'm looking for work, that means I want to work now. So I go to the offer section. If I see what the item is, if it's something that I can do by myself, and if it is, I'll reach out to them. I'll let them know the time frame for pickup and drop off. If they're cool with that, I'll take their offer. And that's pretty much it. The auction is pretty much the same, but again, it's where I, the driver, am putting in my price. And if I have to go to the auction, I try to get them to tell me what their budget is, and if I'm cool with that budget, I put it in. Because like I said, I don't want to waste time negotiating. I'm not trying to find a job 2 weeks from now. I'm trying to find a job now. But that's it, folks. It's all on me to find my work. It's all on me to create my schedule. It's all on me to arrive when I say I'm going to arrive and drop off when I say I'm going to drop off. Now, 9 times out of 10, I don't have to use the app that much anymore because, like I said, I have connections in a lot of states. I can call them up, send them a text, and be like, hey, I'm coming through. Do you got anything? This is where I'm going. And then we'll work out a price. Perfect example, I've got another trip that I'm working on right now, and I've got call it cabinet in my trailer, paying $300 to go from Houston, Texas to Naples, Florida. Now that doesn't sound like a lot, but I've got a 7-foot by 14-foot cargo trailer. You start filling that sucker up and money starts adding up quick. Now, it only costs me on an average to get from Texas to Florida. And when I say Florida, I mean all of Florida, all the way down to Miami and back up, and then back into Texas. And generally when I'm in Texas, I'll start in Houston and I might go to San Antonio, Austin, Dallas to pick up. It's the same thing on the return trip. Get back into Texas, drop off Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, back to Houston. So that route will last 7 to 9 days and cost me in the range of $1,200 to $1,500 in gas. It's a lot of money. I told you earlier, I make between $3,000 and $5,000 a week profit. Well, now we're gonna get into expenses. But before we do that, I need to check my oil levels. I only put in one of these bad boys. I might need another. Okay, that's looking better. Whew, right on the line. All right, oil's topped off. Expenses. You think I drive a lot? Oh, you should see how many times I gotta fill up at the gas station. Oh my God. normally when I'm not lugging that trailer around, that big piece of heavy equipment, I can get about 10 to 12 hours of driving, all depending on the speed, whether I'm on the highway, in the city, 10 to 12 hours. When I've got the trailer and it's loaded down, 5 hours. I've got to fill up every 5 hours. And the average gas tank costs me, when the gas is ridiculously high in Texas and towards Florida, that's between $3.50 and $5. Now I know you West Coasters will be like, that's cheap. Yeah, if you live on the West Coast, that is cheap. But I don't live on the West Coast because I'm smart. $2.50 here in Texas. So average gas tank can run between 80 and 100 bucks, but if it's higher than that, I'm looking at 110 to 150. So that's why I spend about 1,200 to 1,500 bucks drive from Texas to Florida and back every 5 hours. Do the math. That should kind of give you an idea of how many hours I'm on the road.
A few other expenses I have: food. I usually spend about $100 a week in food. It's not too terrible. Now that I have the fridge and freezer installed, I can go to the grocery store and spend even less for a week's long worth of food. It'd be a lot better though if I had a stove, because I can't cook anything yet. I'd like to have something warm, so I still do eat out occasionally. The next big ticket item is oil. I literally have to change my oil after every trip. Sometimes I can probably stretch it, if you're one of those who wants to drive 5,000 and 7,000 miles before changing the oil. I try to change mine between every 3,000 and 5,000 miles. Every trip to and from Florida, I'm just at 3,000 miles. Yeah, and also, when I keep saying this is what I make every week, I'm only referring to the time spent on the road. I'm on the road for a week, so in that time frame, I make that money. The way it normally works out is I'll spend a week looking for work, then I'll go on the road for a week, come back, spend another week. I'm usually only working 2 weeks out of the month. Past couple of months, it's been a little less because I've been doing events, like going to Descend on Bend. I was out there. From the time it took me to drive out there and get back, I was gone almost 3 weeks. The Gutted event, just did that. That was about 9 days. And I had to do a trailer repair, so I missed 2 weeks work there. And coming up, Schooling Palooza, that's a 10-day long event. I'm probably gonna miss 2 to 3 weeks worth of work, because there's also another event, I believe it's called Escapees Bash. These are people who are affiliated with the Gutted show, and they were out there. I think they're gonna be premiering the first episode. I'm not sure, don't quote me. Wanted to wrap that up. Anyone notice anything? So we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. This is a lengthy video. It's probably about 25, 30 minutes long. We'll see you guys next week. Oh, next week, I will be posting on Christmas Day. Fingers crossed that I actually do. That's gonna be our 1 year mark on YouTube. You and I on a journey together. Not really. 1 year. So look out for that video. Videos after that, we'll get back into the van build. All right, guys. I think I've covered everything. You know what time it is.
You know how we do it. Peace.